Operation Journey.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. I'm Devin.
And I'm Cody.
And we are Operation Journey.
Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome to the show, man.
What's up, buddy?
So our episode tonight, real quick, is about you, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, first episode.
That's it.
Is going to be
Get
about,
to know each other, right?
Yeah, about Operation Journey itself. You know what I mean? Where we came from and what it all started with. And we want to hear your story and your success,
man. I don't know. That's into the weeds, boys. That's it.
Well, we're going to add this podcast to your story at the end of it. Watch. This thing's going to explode.
It's going to explode.
It's going to explode. So,
explode, man. Let's talk about the journey.
Let's talk about it, man. Yeah, let's go. Go ahead, man. Start it up.
Yeah, man. So, we're here to enlighten and educate some youngins,
That's right.
I think it all started was I was driving my car and you started a live video about how you wanted to get out of the military and do a podcast.
That is a big fact.
No, I'm all about it, man. You have definitely exactly what I wanted to do, try to inspire and educate what I've been doing for the last 7 years now in the military. So it kind of went hand in hand. And, I think the biggest thing is for us when we were young strapping lads,
in our prime,
rolling around in our 636s. But we had no direction, man. I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. I still don't know what the hell I want to do, but I've been doing a couple things. But yeah, man. But I think if I had a guidance of, not just older brother or, role model, but just had avenues of where I could just plug into and be like, how do I become like a race car driver?
Right.
I don't fucking know how to make a race car driver.
Right. Who does really? I mean, unless you're doing it.
Yeah. Or a CEO like of a company. Like what do you have to do to become a CEO of a company? Not just owning it. How do I go up the ranks, and be able to do that? So, that's the basis of our journey here, our Operation Journey. And we're going to bring on some sweet people onto the podcast.
Very
not
exciting.
Just myself,
Well, it's a good start. You're a pretty cool guy.
I'm a pretty cool guy, I'm over here drinking LaCroix and RX bars, but
you're classy. You're a classy guy.
I keep it classy. Grapefruit, man. It's grapefruit. Yeah, man. So, what's your intake? Let me hear it from your brain.
So that was when I started this idea of what Operation Journey has already blossomed into. Is just obviously with both of our minds clashing day in and day out with all the stuff that we've been talking about. It just started because I listen to podcasts a lot. I'm an avid listener and I follow a lot of Joe Rogan stuff and obviously, a lot of the mainstream stuff. And I don't know, man, I just got this weird, like something came over me and I'm just like, how do we make a difference? How do we change something? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
what's better to do than to dig at the core of what the future is going to be? And that's the kids, man. And it just like, I don't know, it just dawned on me. It just happened when I was driving. Like any other good idea I've probably ever had in my life I was driving my car and it hit me like a brick. I was just like, oh my God, this is it. Yeah, exactly. This is it. This is our, this is what we need to do, man. And since it started, I mean, I've gotten great, got great feedback from everyone that's been watching the live videos. And
we went live, a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And, man, the flow was huge of people like, hey man, when is your next episode coming out? Or when are you making an episode?
Yeah.
Which is my fault completely.
Oh, no,
keep COVID. Getting this sweet mic. If you guys are watching on the video here, I got a sweet mummy. So not all the stuff has come in, but we're working it. So
yes,
but yeah, man, I'm stoked about it, and just to let people know what's going on out in the world right now.
Yeah,
it's a weird place for sure. COVID's out there.
yeah, that kind of
oddball.
It's another reason why this whole thing even became, because just having really not a lot going on right now. My mind's turning, you know what I mean? And you know what it is, man? A lot of what's driving the movement here is I needed change and you needed change. You know what I mean? And I've been in the military for 10 years, and I love the Navy. I really do. It's treated me well. It's treated my family well. It's put me in some really cool places, and I've met a lot of cool people, and I've learned a lot.
That's the difference between the Navy and the Army, by the way.
I really do love it. I have a fire in my heart for it. It's just it's diminishing a little bit, and I'm thinking to myself, how do I create a new life for me with being able to take care of my family and everything like that? And what's a better way to do it than to do something that you love to do, which obviously, if you guys know me personally, you know that I love to talk. So why not
just talking it up?
Why not bring some good stuff to the world if possible in the process of it, you know?
Absolutely. So. We used to call Devin here the mayor of New York when we were younger. So let you guys in, tune in. This is his passion. It's in the loins.
It's a little bit. It's definitely a little bit. Gift of the gab.
That's cool, man. Yeah, man, so many memories back in the day, man.
Well,
it's gonna be fun.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some memories. Let's go back to the original, back to the very roots of what Cody Kavanagh is.
Should we bring the picture?
If you want.
Well, if anybody knows me right now, CrossFit has taken over my life for a little while, and the fitness scene. But I was not always the fitness star that I was. And if you're watching on the video here,
oh my god,
take a little peek at that thing. You know,
that
just
is
2 eggs on a
face that only a mother could love. Right?
Yeah, man. Jesus. So let's take it back. Huh?
Yeah, let's go back, man. Let's start it out.
Take it back.
Yeah, all the way back, man, right to the roots. So obviously, we're here to, to educate the younger generation, but, by talking about all the nitty gritty details of
the gritty
of how you became successful in what you do now, man. And
I don't know if I am, but I'm trying, dude. I'm trying every day.
I would say it is. And I think once people hear the story, they'll agree that you've definitely become successful in your field, and it's only getting better.
That's it.
So tell us, man, where did it all begin for Cody Kavanagh?
Ooh, we're going back now.
Back.
Yeah, man. So born in West Palm Beach, Florida. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot of people know about. I usually just say New York because I cut that chapter out of my life. But yeah, man, born in West Palm Beach. Not the greatest of families, so we're going to get into the emotional one now, right?
Yes, yeah. Let's talk about it. Man.
You gotta talk about it to be able to progress through it, right? So, grew up, West Palm Beach, probably up until I don't even remember, but probably like 5 or 6. Parents super big drug addicts. Lived most of my younger life as being taken care of by my grandmother, who is a saint. Both my grandmothers were, my figures in life. Didn't really have a father figure to follow. So, just being around them was awesome. My grandmother in New York was a military, and so was my grandfather. So that kind of pushed my way into that setting. But yeah, man. So I moved from Florida to New York. Not in the best way. Little CPS, Child Protective Services issue.
Right.
Parents got into a little bit of mess. My father was selling fake stocks, as all I know right now.
Wow.
Don't really speak to him much. I speak to him here and there. But yeah, man, he picked up and left. He moved to Romania, where there's no extrication there. Yeah. So he wasn't able to get back. He had a bunch of record on him, drugs and money laundering, all this kind of stuff. So he picked up and left. Yeah, man, it's good stuff.
Hey, it's part of the story, man. It's part of the journey.
Yeah, dude. So so I went from there. I moved to New York. My mother, she went through drug rehab.
Nice.
And got clean, man. It was huge, man. I lived with my grandmother, like I said before. She was military whack, which means waking up in the morning and making my bed or getting whacked every morning. So kind of instilled that militant mindset when I was younger. But yeah, man, I went to Middle school, went to
What middle school did you go to?
Merrick Avenue.
Merrick Avenue Middle School. Wow.
Yeah, man. Okay. I was up in Belmore, Merrick area. Nice. Your stomping grounds.
Yeah. My reign of terror.
Yeah, mine too. And then I went to high school at Calhoun.
Okay.
And I did not graduate from there.
Did not graduate high school.
I did not graduate high school.
Wow. Just if everyone listening is listening hard, keep that point in the back of your head when you hear this story. So
I did not. I was a little shithead then. I'm still got a little bit of that in me right now, but
it's in your DNA.
A little bit, a little bit more on the train track now. But yeah, man. So high school wasn't the thing for me.
What would you say in your high school days? What was your biggest hardship during high school?
I think my biggest hardship was school itself, man. Like just being attentive to the school,
like the structure of high school.
Yeah, the structure, and then probably just embarrassment from a standpoint of not having enough money to fit in with the crowd. You know what I mean? So, where we're from, Devin and both of I are from there. Calhoun was a little bit of a richer area. We lived in Merrick, which is a little bit of higher class, and my ass was not that. When I was younger, my mother was still in drug rehab. So we had the church that my grandmother went to. They would have food drives and bring food to us every week to be able to maintain, eating food on the table. Oh yeah. So yeah, man, a little bit of hardship like that. I think just high school in general, when I moved there, transition, I was like a surfer boy, just not, fitting in the picture with that. And, obviously not as well off as everybody in Merrick was. Yeah. I mean, we went to school with Lindsay Lohan. I mean,
yeah.
Come on now.
to set the bar a little bit.
Yeah. She set her bar up and now it's completely down. But,
oh my God. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. So, I went from there, man. School was just not my thing, so I decided to never go.
Nice. So that'll happen.
I think one way to get out of there is just not going. I had a really cool group of friends, man. Devin included. We had a solid group, man. Everywhere we went was just, and I speak to this day of just like our group of friends was amazing, man. We just we owned the streets at night, which is crazy.
We really did. Did.
And the cops knew it too, which is even funnier. But yeah, man. So I dropped out of school, and I think I took about a year of being more of a shithead than I was prior to that. Just riding my motorcycle. Working at Geico. I was scanning mail.
So at this point where we're at right now, so we're talking 2007, 2008 timeframe?
No, so I would have graduated in 2005 because I'm an older strapping lad. I would have graduated in 2005. I got kicked out that year of 2005 because I missed seat time. So I didn't academically fail school. Right. I didn't have enough seat time. Right. So my mom was an awesome mother of, being super dedicated, and, always looking out for my well-being, or always looking out to make sure I was okay versus anybody else being okay. You know what I mean? Right. So I dropped out, got the call school. She knew, she wasn't dumb. I was never there. Yeah. I was always home or was hanging out with Jerry or your dumbass. So, so they kicked me out, and then I took about a year, man. And this too, because we'll talk about this when we get to your episode, but we went to the same school where there's a dropout prevention school. Right. And it's Harriet Eisenman.
In Long Beach.
Long Beach Reach, man. Yep. At that point, I didn't know. I still don't really fucking know what I'm going to do when I get older. But at that point, I didn't know, but I just knew that in the back of my head, I probably should get my high school diploma before I go do anything, And around that time, man, I wasn't really motivated to do anything other than ride my bike stay up late, and just hang out. But something behind my back of my head was, it's just like, hey man, you need to go back to school, dude. Like just that push from inside,
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a lot of that in my whole life and career. But so I decided, hey, screw it. So I reached out to Long Beach Reach. They told me all I needed to do was sit there. I didn't need to do any schoolwork. I literally just needed to be in prison,
just in attendance.
My attendance, and just sitting
breathe
there
inside the building.
Exactly, and sat there. I did. I showed up, and teachers were really cool, and got my high school diploma. Yeah. So, man, it's hard times. Definitely, looking forward now, just how much school I've been doing.
Later on in life,
it's crazy, man. Like half this podcast has been pushed because of school, which for me, it's a good thing.
I mean, if it's going to get pushed for anything, I think school is probably the best thing to have it pushed for.
School. Yeah. Right. And half our crew, even my wife, who was part of our crew back then, would probably be appalled to be like, Cody's going to get his master's degree. Like, what the fuck is that?
Crack is in that pipe.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So from there, just a big takeaway was just, I didn't finish high school, I didn't really have the care for it. Not that I was dumb or anything, which I'm, I joined the Army, so I guess I am pretty dumb, but, it wasn't academic. I did go through some struggles, like just showing up to school and clothing that you're not, up to date, and fitting in with the crew is my biggest thing.
Yeah. Maintaining that level of high school status.
Yeah, man. I didn't have a status, dude. I played hockey. I was pretty good at that. I played for, a place called Apple Corps on Long Island, which is pretty good division of hockey. Played with that, man. I didn't do any school sports. Wasn't really, other than BMXing and riding my motorcycle, I wasn't really into sports or hockey.
Right.
Other than hockey. So I didn't really participate in anything, no band, no chorus or glee club or anything like that.
Wait, you weren't in glee club? Oh. You didn't have an a cappella group that sang on the sidewalks?
Man, if only I was in the glee club, I would have stayed in school. Right?
What the world would be like today. Jesus.
Let me turn me up on my mic. So yeah, man.
So tell us about the Harriet Eisman School for the listeners. Obviously, they're probably not familiar with the name of that school, but let's talk about that real quick.
It's just an upper level of jail. No, man. It was a cool school, man. It was like, if you remember, it's like you show up to this place, and in Long Beach it's a beach town, right? So everything is one highway, and you park on the street, super New York style.
Yeah.
You walk into this building and you walk up a flight of stairs, and it just looked like office building, office rooms with like those old school desks that you sit in, you immediately fall asleep in. Those ones.
It's tough, especially because it was at night. I went to you went to night classes.
That's right. Yeah. I went to night school. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah,
that was tough.
Yeah, I mean, both of us were night owls anyway. But so you got there, and it was just like an office building, man. It was like a bunch of teachers that didn't really look like teachers. They were super down to earth.
All good people. I can definitely say that.
Super welcoming. We should get them on here. Talk about it a little bit.
Talk to Julie.
I forget Julie, right?
Julie, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
She was great.
Was like a guidance counselor, kind of, right?
Well, she was the principal of that school.
That's right. Yeah,
I believe she was a guidance counselor prior to being there. If I'm not mistaken, I have to check with her. But yeah, I think she was the principal of the school for sure. But I think she does have some guidance counselor history.
Yeah, man, she's awesome. She's the one that set me up with everything. Can't believe I still remember that. What was that? Freaking a couple years ago now.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah, but it was cool, dude. It was like super welcoming. More my flow. Everybody there was degenerates probably like I was. Didn't really care about much other than, I also played music. I was in a band. I was in a couple bands when I was younger. Blood Brings Beauty was one of them. You remember that one?
Yeah.
My trucker hats and all that stuff. Yeah, man, I was full core, like hardcore scene boy, which no one who knows me from military till today, present day, would be like, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. They would be like, you're fucking lying, dude. I had the lip pierce.
Oh yeah.
I had the eyebrow pierce. My gauge earrings. You were wearing your girlfriend's, pants. So
it was a different time. Okay. And Macy's had really good sales on those pants, so I couldn't turn them down.
7 jeans, man.
Oh,
7.
Dude.
Remember that?
I love them.
You don't have to wash them, dude.
Never.
Yeah. So, it was our flow, man. I'm super grateful for them to be able to put on such an awesome establishment. So probably would have never got my high school diploma. It's so funny. Every year I'm still a part of Calhoun High School alumni or whatever it is.
Oh, really?
I always get it, like the 10-year or whatever it was. I forget the number now. I got like the invite. I'm like, bros, I didn't even pass that school. The thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
I can only imagine who I would see there and, just the life.
Oh my God.
Different choices of life. But
yeah.
Which is insane because, where we're from in New York, for you listeners, it's a melting pot, man. It's wild. You have your super high echelon down to your, myself and Devin's self. Yeah. So we found our clique though, man. Our clique was awesome, dude.
It's good times.
Dunkin' parking lot at like 3 a.m. had like 50 deep.
You'd know where we were at.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're talking about now we're in night school. So we left high school. We got into night school, and left high school, got into night school, and so at this point, what are your goals? Do you have anything set in your mind? Zero. So there's nothing going on in your head thinking future wise.
High school diploma.
That was it. Just get the high school diploma, and we'll figure it out.
Back then, man, all I cared about was my motorcycle. Played some music, maybe buying a new guitar, and thinking I was going to be the next, Kill Switch Engage, band, and that didn't work out very well.
Right.
Yeah, man, I lived a really cool time. Like I don't regret anything back then. You know what I mean? I had fun every single night. Mm-hmm. Even if it was me getting run over by my cousin's car, like I still had a blast. Even though I had like 2 broken legs, but it is what it is. That's what happens when you kick people's garbage cans over and then jump on a vehicle. But
you try your best.
Yeah, man, I didn't really have any aspirations. I was working at Geico and medical billing. Shout out to my manager, Sue. She's amazing. Sue Berg.
Sue Berg.
Yeah. So I thought I was living it, dude. I was living good.
So you got into Geico. You were working in the billing department. Tell us how that all went. I mean, what were you making? Like, what was your financials looking like while you were working there? You were still living at home at this point, obviously.
Yeah, dude.
So what were you looking at financially?
Until you're like 30.
Or later.
No, I think I was making like $12 an hour or something.
Okay.
Well, no, let's bring it back. I started working there because my cousin worked there, who's way smarter than I am. Tom, he's like my brother. And a couple of our other friends worked there, Tom, Z, and then
Ron.
Yep. He was there. So we had a crew there, man. So it was just like kind of fitting that we would all work there.
Yeah.
I started in mail processing.
Ooh, you were the mail guy.
The guy mail, the mail, MAIL.
So you were walking around with a cart.
The scanner, man.
Scanning?
The scanner.
Wow.
Just scanning mail.
Wow.
And I just remember, dude, like throwing my headphones in and just rocking out for like 6 hours scanning mail. And then I got a promotion to go to medical billing. And it's cool, man. But back to this day, dude, I would always be like, I feel sorry for myself because I would call in like nonstop. Because if it was a nice day outside, I would text you and be like, yo, what are you doing? And you'd be like, yo, I'm going to ride. And I'm like, well, I'm going riding too. I'm calling out Sue out of work.
I was not a good influence on you at all.
Yeah, they all knew it too, man. They're like, this fucking dude again calling in. And say, I'll call Sue and be like, Sue, I'm just not feeling good. She's like, yeah, I can hear your motorcycle in the background, man.
No, that's the dog.
No, it's a sweet dog I have. It's a Kawasaki dog. So yeah, man, I had no aspirations at that time. I was just kind of chilling, hanging out. But before this, huge impact on both our lives. We lost a really good friend of ours. Traumatic incident, something that came out of nowhere. 9/11 just happened a few years prior. So we were still in a weird state back then. Just weird being in New York with all that going on, and people's families, lost family members, and
it was terrible.
This is really terrible time. And I remember, Jerry was a really good friend of ours, one of my best friends. First kid I met when I moved to New York, actually. Greek kid, didn't speak very good English or English very well. Sorry, I'm working on my master's degree. So, I've known him since I was like 6 years old. We were inseparable when we were younger, played hockey all the time. So, we lost him in a car accident. Street racing, man. Something stupid that we all did. And, it's just, we all, it could have been any of us, and that night or that day, actually, driving down the road, we were street racing and lost control and drove into off Sunrise Highway, which is the main road in where we're from, and crashed into a tree, hit his A-pillar, told that, he died on impact. And, that was huge for our whole group, man. That was like our first person, that we lost out of our group, in your, your family, your, relatives, they'll always talk about like that one friend they passed or, but it wasn't like we didn't really experience that yet. So it was hard, man. Especially for me. And I was in a bad place for a while, man. And
I remember that.
Yeah, dude. So that was probably the only thing that, was a deciding factor of future plans,
Right.
And I'll get to it as, we get there, but, miss him dearly. He was, the happiest kid ever alive, man. To this day, some jokes that he said over the years ago, I still remember and just die laughing about, but
that's true.
Yeah. I still talk to his mom. I actually spoke to Magda the other day.
Really?
Yeah, dude. She's awesome. And she's actually wanted to listen to the podcast. So
shout out to Magda.
Yeah. If you're listening, Mom, she was like my second mom. She was like beating my ass. Jerry and I got into a lot of trouble together. Another reason why I probably didn't graduate high school. Just an easy spot to go to, Magda. You just left your house wide open. But yeah, man. Yeah. He was, just a brother to me, man. And moving forward from my life, that was kind of like, I need to do something, man. I can't just sit here and, dwell on the past and, right. I got to live up his memory and I got to live for him. So a lot of the things that I've done today and the struggles that I've gone through today have kind of come from him and helping hand from him from upstairs, So, yeah, man. So back to medical billing.
We're at Geico now.
So we're at Geico. And I just, my brother, recently called me. I never lived with my brother. I was only living with him. And when we lived, quote unquote, together in South Florida when I was born, it was kind of back and forth because my mom would have me. My brother would be my grandmother. He was a little older. Mm-hmm. He's out doing his thing. And I would be stuck at home with my grandmother eating McDonald's burgers. Love her to death. She would bring me McDonald's burgers all the time. But, so we didn't really get a childhood together. So, when I got to the medical billing, it's kind of like at a dead end. I have nowhere to fucking go, man. I just lost my best friend. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing anything. I have no drive to do anything. And my brother called me one day, just was like, "Hey, dude, you're moving." And I'm like, "No, I'm fucking not."
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like, fuck you. I'm not moving anywhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, man, like you're in a really bad place. You're not doing anything. You're just going to go down the rabbit hole of, possibly, drugs, alcohol, that whole thing, super depressed with, losing Jerry and stuff." So, it was a rough time, man. You know it. I didn't leave on great terms with everybody. And that was just a shortfall of just being so mentally out of the game, man, out of just life. I was so drained of life at that time because of all the shit that happened. But
it was definitely a dark time, and for you to make that move, it was obviously the best thing that you had to do for yourself. Nobody held that against you or anything. Obviously, it was just you had to make that decision, and you did what you did.
Yeah, man, I had to do it. It probably saved me from killing myself. So I mean, we rode together one night, and I literally almost killed myself.
I watched it happen actually right in front of me. That was a scary night.
Like, oh my God, he's his head. Yeah, man, I was. We'll let the listeners know. I'll talk about my flaws, dude. I crashed my bike at 100 miles an hour.
You definitely did. Yeah,
man, I was. It was. You remember that night or that day? We left because it was nice out. Remember?
Yeah,
it was. It was a beautiful day. Like we all put our bikes up for that the end of the year into the winter, and that one day came, man. I was like, "Hey, Sue, I ain't coming in.
I'm not feeling too hot.
I'm not feeling too hot." Listen, man. Sue, I got to call in. So, yeah, man, I called in. We rode like fucking all day, man.
Yeah.
We rode literally until the time that I just fell off the fucking bike and crashed into the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was getting good at my wheelies at that time.
Yeah, we were working on those.
My stand-ups were on the game.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. And we were driving down the road, and we were all three of us. It was me, you, and
Will.
That's right, yeah. We're all up in the wheelies, doing a thing. You guys both drop yours, and I'm like, fuck it, dude, I'm sending it.
Full send, bro.
Full send.
You really did, though.
Yeah, dude. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck these dudes. They think they're better at wheeling than me. I'm sending it, And that's not really what I thought. I was just like, oh, shit, I'm on a wheelie, so I can do it longer. I was in like third gear, like pinning it out. And if anybody listening knows how wheelies work, you're not supposed to go through your full gear.
No, not at all.
And then tap out and then crash. That's not good for you. But yeah, I was in the wheelie, got to the end, and I looked back, and I'm like, Devin's like waving at me, like, put your fucking bike down. I'm like, fuck you, dude. I'm up here. I'm sending it. I'm good. Just gonna send it. And I sent it all right. I put the bike down in New York. There's like super big cracks in the middle of the road for expansion during the winter and summers. I landed on that, and I got a tank slap.
It was not. I wouldn't even classify that as a tank slap. That was the most violent
seizure. It was a seizure on a bike.
The most violent tank slapping I've ever seen in my entire history of riding motorcycles. Never have I seen a tank slap last as long as it did.
Hey, dude, I rode that buck.
You really did. And I honestly, truly believe to this day that had that road stayed straight, you may have pulled out of it.
I would have pulled it off, and I would have been a fucking rock star.
I pooped for you, honestly. I pooped my pants.
I pooped 100%. I definitely pooped. But yeah, that tank slap came in. It was slapping me down to my soul. Mm-hmm. And I got it, man. I came to. I was like, fuck yeah, I got this, And I didn't get this because a turn came. And I got it. Yeah. I tried to turn into the turn. I was probably going like 90 miles an hour at that point. And I said my blessings, dude. All I remember was trying to hang my right foot off, leaning right, and it wasn't leaning right. It was still going straight. Oh, and I jumped off, and all I remember at that point was trying to dig my fingers into the grass, which was freaking frozen.
Oh yeah.
And trying to stop myself, but it didn't work.
You know, throwing yourself off that bike was the only thing that saved your life that night.
Exactly. Yeah.
The only thing.
So the split decision saved me, man. Yeah. So I jumped off and just rode it, man. Rode the wave. Rode the 90-mile-an-hour wave.
It looked like a bomb went off on the side of the road from back there. We were riding behind you, and me and Will looked at each other. We're like, oh my God. As soon as you started going to the side of the road, we knew what was going on. So we slowed down, and it was like going into a room that had never been dusted in like 20 years and then just starting a friggin' a leaf blower and like every like anything that could have left the ground did. Your bike picked up like chunks of grass. It was just like it was dirt everywhere. It was insane. Everything but fire, pretty much, is what it was.
Well, we came back? Well, we'll finish that. But yeah, so I crashed. Bike went into the woods, disintegrated. Mm-hmm. I mean, the frame was mulch and
split in half.
The split in half.
Yeah,
the tire
hit a tree.
was like freaking 14 miles down the road.
Bike hit a tree and broke completely in half.
And then I get off the bike and I'm like, I'm dead. Like, just listen, like, just get into the scene right now.
Oh,
like, I wake up, I don't hear anything. And my visor's closed. And stupid me has a dark visor.
Oh my God, dude.
So there I am, dead. And then
thinking about
I hear Devin saying, Cody! And I'm like, I'm not fucking dead. Holy shit. So I stand up and I look around and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm not dead. And I have all my limbs.
Yeah.
And I run over and you're sitting there with your white biked out, which I painted, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Still have it.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
And you're standing there, I'm like, dude, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Because the split decision that I had with the tank slap, I also had with my insurance. Not only was I thinking, holy shit, I survived, I was thinking, holy shit, I'm going to get a free bike. But that didn't happen either. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Or financial hardships.
That was definitely one for the book. But so jump on your bike. We double dick it. If no one knows what that is, 2 guys, 1 bike.
I also had 1 peg on the bike as well.
Right. One leg was hanging off
for wheelies. So yes. No passengers, wheelies only, requires 1 peg. And
exactly. Yeah, I remember that. So we show up to it was your house,
my house.
Lisa and Chelsea were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, my fucking arm is hurting on the way, dude. I'm trying to talk to you. You're fucking sending it on the bike. And I'm like, dude, my arm hurts. You could probably edit that one out.
I'll try.
Yeah, so I was like, my arm hurts, dude. And I'm like, I had like 14 sweaters on because I was too broke to buy a real riding jacket.
and it was like 13 degrees outside.
It was like 12 fucking minus 12 there. And I had like 15 sweaters on and I couldn't roll my arm up. And I'm like, I think it was Lisa or Chelsea, I forget. And I was like, you need to cut my sleeve off, but don't freak out when you see my arm because I'm going to freak out. Because right now it doesn't hurt that bad. But when you scream, I'm going to scream. Right? So,
you actually passed out on my motorcycle laying on me at the intersection right before we got to my house.
Did I really?
You laid on me, dude, like I was a freaking purple mattress. I'm like sitting there and I felt you like, I thought you were just trying to adjust yourself and you literally put all your weight on my back. Like your limp body was on my, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing? Dead. And I'm like trying to not like lay on the front of my bike while you're like passing out. And then the light turned green. And I was like, I'm going. If he falls off, he's gonna fall off. He'll wake up.
Survived 100-mile-an-hour crash.
You woke right up,
dude. Yeah, that was she cut my sleeve off. And I screamed. I think my bone was hanging out, and I just have like a little, looks like a little proper wordage here, but it looks like a little vagina on my elbow, which I am right now because of this. But yeah, it was like a little thing hanging out, and probably see my bone. And Lisa or Chelsea screamed, and I screamed. It was great, man. We went to the hospital. Remember the nurse? She's like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "Well, I fell off my bicycle she's like, you're going pretty fast then. I was like, yeah.
It was a downhill race.
Downhill.
It was a downhill race. You didn't know about the downhill race this week?
You don't remember the downhill races at 3 a.m.?
You didn't get the emails?
Yeah. We sent you the email. Yeah, man. So there that was, just a little story of our life back then. But yeah, man. So I, all that's going on. Back to Geico, not really direction, crashing motorcycles, not fucking graduating high school, lost my best friend. And so, yeah, my brother was like, hey dude, you're moving. And I'm like, yeah, fuck no, I'm not moving. I ended up moving. He drove all the way down or all the way up, excuse me, to pick me up, man. He drove his freaking truck all the way up to New York, grabbed my stuff, and 2-day turnaround, and we were gone, man. I moved back down to West Palm Beach area. Didn't leave on great terms with everybody, but it was needed.
Definitely needed.
Yeah, man. And so I made it down there, dude, and I was like, I'm going to start fresh. This is going to be a fresh start here.
So what'd you do? So you get to Florida at this point. Do you have any goals at this point? When you get there, You're like, fresh start. You're just like, hey, I'm gonna find this straightened path, and I'm gonna, what are you aiming at?
Yeah. So my brother is, he's awesome, dude. He's super focused. He's a firefighter in Delray. And at that time, dude, I was like, I'm gonna come down there. I'll do the fire thing, and pursue that because here I am, fucking 10 years later, and I just finished fire academy. So full fucking circle, but
we'll get to
listen to him at the beginning, that asshole. So got down there. My brother had an apartment. I had a room there, and pretty much all expenses paid. He was, he knew where my head was at.
Right.
He's my brother. He's going to take care of me until the end. So I stayed there for free, which is awesome, and I got a job as a dispatcher for a 911 department, police department.
Nice.
Good job, man. I was making like freaking, I don't even know, like almost $30 an hour.
Wow. How old were you at this point?
19?
19 years old.
19, 20, yeah. Yeah, so I moved there, maybe 18.
This was 2008.
Yeah.
Because you had moved back to New York before I left for the Navy, which I left in 2009.
Well, I never moved back. I was just there. I never permanently moved back to New York. I came before I left for the military, for the Army.
Right. Okay, yeah. That's what
that was it.
You came back for a little while before you left.
Yeah, so I moved down there. Didn't really last too long, man. I just wasn't into the firefighter scene then. I was just like, all this stuff happened. I just need something better. I need to do something that I'm just like, put myself out there physically. I started getting into working out then, actually. I got there. I think Geico started me. I was like, trying to impress the girls. Like, hey, look at my biceps, look at my motorcycle with my sleeves off. So I got into a little bit of working out then, and then I got to Florida, and I was working out like fucking 2 a.m.
Wow.
For like 3 hours, dude, just running. I was like super fucking lean.
Yeah.
Probably weighed like 130 pounds, like doing nothing really like strength based, just cardio.
Did you at this point, this is when you reconnected with your dad a little bit, right?
Yeah. So, it was good. So he moved. He left. He left for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe spoke to him like 4 or 5 times. He helped me buy my car in New York, little Acura Integra, hashtag red life. And then, it didn't really speak to him much because, time difference, him not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
That kind of
big
stuff.
Factors.
He gave me his credit card. I used that a few times without him knowing, stuff like that.
Another oops.
Got a skunk 2 intake for my Integra, so he comes back, man, and kind of reconnected with them. And he was great. He was doing really good. And
cleaned up at this point.
Yeah, I think, at the time that I was there, yeah, he was pretty clean, or showing that he was clean.
Okay.
And then, yeah, man, he got married to a new Romanian wife. Super cool. Gabriella, we call her Gaby. Super down to earth, so awesome. Really good fit for my dad. Kind of kept him straight. So yeah, we reconnected at this time. Kind of decided, man, like I've done some stupid shit.
Right.
Everybody does some stupid shit. You know, I'm not perfect. Let's just leave everything at where it was and, you know, move forward and, you know, have a dad.
Make amends. Yeah. Make amends and let the past be in the past. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, man, he came back and we you know, saw each other probably every week. And, you know, he's a music freaking phenomenon. He plays like every freaking instrument there is. So, you know, that's where I guess my love for music came from. So go over his house, we'd jam for like an hour, you know, eat dinner, and I would leave. And, you know, it was cool. It was a good time, man. It was a good, you know, better later than never, you know, but good just to be like, okay, you know, I have a dad and, you know, he's here and now I could kind of rekindle stuff. So we did a little bit, but during that time, man, I remember when I was still living in New York and dating a chick, which we all know. Yeah. We all
remain nameless.
We will remain nameless. Yeah. So at that time, man, I was like so unorganized, unfocused. All I remember was like, I just want to be recognized, you know, like I want to have purpose for some reason. Like one morning or one night or freaking 2 a.m, I was like, you know, I want to be famous, man. Like I want to do some cool shit. I want to like, how do I do this? Like I'm a really poor kid. I don't have a really good background of education. My parents didn't go to college. They don't have a trust fund. They don't have even a fucking bank account probably. Right. And, you know, and I was like, what do I need to do to do that? You know, music wasn't making it, you know, that was really cool. Made some fun times with that, but I was like, where the fuck am I going to do something, you know? And I had that drive even when I went to Florida, even though my brother was, you know, pushing fire on me. And I had a lot of roadblocks actually, which is, you know, good thing to talk about was, I had a driving record.
Yeah.
Everybody knows my driving record. Yeah. I had one, you know, attempted murder with a deadly weapon, charge for the, racing in front of the movie theater. Remember that? When I got pulled over
my God.
Black Integra.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I got a really nasty ticket for that. It was like a felony charge, which got dropped down. I had a person in my car, the nameless person. And, you know, I was going like quadruple over the speed limit. And the guy, you know, pulls me out of the car, puts me on the hood and throws my keys in the woods. Remember that?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And,
so petty.
You know, gave me a ticket. Long story short, he gave me a ticket. And, so
he did all that for a speeding ticket. And then
I won the race though. Yeah. So that was, it was against, the kid that drove. He was super good at BMX. I actually follow him on Facebook. Get his name. I'll think of it. But I was racing him and I beat him. So it was cool. And the cop was like, well, you won, so I'll give you the ticket. I'm like, well, fuck you, man. So yeah, I got a mass ticket. So I had a really bad driving record, only in my car. I never got pulled over on my bike, thank God. Yeah. So I went to try to become a police officer because I was like, you know, my brother's a firefighter. Don't really think that's cool right now.
Yeah.
Bunch of old guys sitting around, you know, I wasn't into it, man. So I was like, you know, I want to have a gun. Like I want to do something cool, you know? So I tried to become a police officer. That fucking backfired. They're like, sir, your driving record. And I was like, well, I've never been in trouble other than that. Well, your driving record, sir. So yeah, he
was that West Palm Beach PD? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, man. I tried to go to school. I tried to go to police academy. My brother was knew a few people at the police academy, so I was like, you know, I was like, I got it. I'm an in. I'm a fucking shoe-in, you know? And that wasn't the case, man. They pulled my driving record and they're like, you're a shoe out. Get the fuck out.
You are surely leaving the building.
I should probably arrest you right now because you don't even have a license. So So that backfired, man. And then, that transpired to me being like, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. Because they look cool. Yeah. That's
cool,
it.
Cool blues. They got some cool dress uniforms.
You look really cool in your whatever you call them, your dress things. So yeah, I went down the recruiter, man. I had tattoos, and that backfired too, man. Another roadblock. I was fucking heartbroken. I was like, I want to become a Marine. My brother was like, you're an idiot. My whole family was like, you're a fucking idiot.
Which obviously lit the fire for you to want to do it more.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking do this. So I sat down with like whatever they call themselves in the Marines, gunnery sergeant, I believe, is one of their ranks, and sat with them, and he's like, hey, man, here's the deal. You got wrist tattoos. We can't bring you in. You're out. So went to MEPS, did my thing with them. They kicked me out. So next day I walked in to the next door, which is the Army recruiter. And I'm like,
anybody home?
Hey, dude, I knocked on the door like, hey, what's the hardest thing you got? And the guy looked at me like I had a dick on my head. And he was like, I got special forces, as he's like laughing, and I'm like, I want that. Sign me up for that. And he's like, well, it's like, less than 1% make it through. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to be that less than 1%.
You obviously don't know I went to Harriet Eisman.
Yeah. I went to Harriet Eisman and I crashed my bike going 100 miles an hour.
I am the 1%.
I have my high school diploma from a dropout school. So I walked in there. They laughed, they joked, they had a great fucking time. And they signed me up, man. He was like, all right, let's try it, you motherfucker. Like, let's see what you got. So I went in as a 18 X-ray, and
well, for the non-military folk, can you explain that?
Yeah, sorry for you non-military speaking people. That's Special Forces recruit, or as the recruiter said, an absolute failure. And one of the biggest things, just to drive through home of just like, fight for what you believe in, and always, try to overtake your hurdles was language, so Special Forces, we speak different languages, and, we go into target countries and work with target forces and all this kind of stuff. And we got to speak their language. So with all this going down, I'm talking to my mom, and she's like, she loves me to death. She's a straight shooter. She's like, you don't want to go Ranger, it's a little bit more up your alley. And I'm like, dude, I'm sending. I'm going Special Forces. I want that tab, And at that time, that was my famous. That was my. I'm going in. I want to do something really cool. 9/11 happened. I want to give back to the people that gave everything, and all the families that I saw suffering and lost and all that stuff. So that was my like famous, yeah. And so yeah, man, my mom was like, you probably shouldn't do that. You gotta learn a language. And I'm like, she's like, you had Spanish in high school and you got like a -10, like the only person to get negatives.
You actually owed money to them.
You actually owed money for high school. I had to pay for you to go, So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna send it, and we'll see where it is. So signed the contract. I waited I was in a debt program for a while. I forget how many months it was, but I sold everything, man. Let's
talk about it. Let's talk about some financials at this point. So were you working when you joined the Army?
Yeah, man. I was at the police department.
You were still doing dispatching?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was still dispatching, and my brother was still pissed about it. He probably still pissed to this day about it, because I left a really good job to, become a grunt. But so I was working, man. I was I sold my bike. I'm sorry, no, I didn't sell my bike. My car got stolen during that time, and I shot at a person.
Jesus.
Stupidly. But yeah, man, I wasn't really doing much. I was working. I was working out a lot. Like I said, a lot of cardio, dude. I was running like fucking 5-minute miles.
Jesus.
I was just getting after it, man. I was just really, really into working out. And I think that's another reason why I got into the military, because, you get paid to work out in the Army. So, nothing really financials. I had like probably $10 to my name.
Wow.
The whole time from high school till that time, I had probably $10 to my name.
So I mean, you were making good money at the dispatching office. What were you? What were you at this point, obviously you're a little bit older. You got, bills and stuff are coming in. What do you feel like your financial hardships were at that point?
Being a fucking idiot.
Just spending recklessly?
Saving. Yeah, man. I got it in, it went right out. Okay. I was buying stupid stuff, and I started paying rent to my brother for like the short amount of time that I was left there. But, rent. And then I was just being stupid, man. I was just buying stupid shit, pre-workouts by the bundle, which I have a heart condition now from.
Oh, there you go.
And so no, man, my financials, I had no structure. Education wise, I had zero freaking idea what any kind of savings plan looked like, 401k or anything like that. And so I really had no money to my name, had no savings, nothing, man. So another reason why I was just like, fuck it.
So knowing what you know today, what would you tell yourself at that age?
Don't sell everything. Your life's not over. And start young, man, with money. Like our material things that we had was just not needed, like
it was all for show.
It's all for show, man. And I think a bigger thing for me was I needed to show that because of where I came from. Like I had nothing. So I was like, well, I'm going to now buy everything.
Yeah. Your first ounce of an open door, you just go for the
exactly.
Goals.
Yeah, man. Like I saw all these kids having like fucking BMW cars and, all this stuff. And I had like a freaking 1991 Acura Integra with the wheel almost fell off on the road.
Still a nice car though.
Yeah, it was still a nice car. We painted it black. But yeah, back if I was telling myself then, it would be just, that money accrues over time so fast, and you're just throwing, even if it's like $100 a month, put it away, just have a savings. You have something to fall back on. And my family had no money, so I had nothing to fall back on. So yeah, man, just drive home that savings aspect of not spending money on stupid shit all the time.
Right.
Like Red Bull and gas. I didn't drink, which is cool. I
was going to actually touch base when you were talking about being a hardcore kid and all that. Yeah. That scene is extremely influential for drug use and for alcohol, and you always stayed the straight path. Yeah, you were what's the word for it?
Straight edge.
Straight edge. Yep, straight edge.
Dying breed these days.
It is. It's the truth, honestly. It's and I think obviously coming from your family history and all that, and being brought up in a world full of drugs and alcohol, I feel obviously that's probably your biggest influence to not use drugs and alcohol. And
totally,
I commend you to this day. You still do not consume or use or anything like that. I mean, obviously, while you're in the Army, is absolute no for drugs, but you still have yet to start drinking. And huge props to you, man, for that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, LaCroix life, dude. I drink those LaCroix like you're going out of style, man. Yeah, it was hard, man. It was, seeing the hardcore scene I was in. All my band members drank, smoked, did drugs. I didn't really have anybody. I mean, you didn't drink and do anything. You smoked cigarettes back then, but like the kind of the crew I hung out with, other than that, really solid, man. Like I never had any pressure from anybody to be like, hey, try this, man. You're fucking stupid if you don't,
Yeah.
We packed our lives with other stupid shit, like, going 200 miles an hour on the Northern State Parkway, and like cars was a really good thing to get yourself into, because you have no money left over
no money for drugs and alcohol when you're building cars. That's for sure.
So when my son gets older, he's going to have a car and he's going to dump all his money in there. So, but yeah, man, I still to this day don't dabble in that, and I think that was one of the reasons why I stayed alive when I was younger, especially with Jerry passing and stuff too. So yeah, man, if, look it up for the listeners, it's, a dying breed. Like I'm saying, we're joking around, but it really is. It's a scene that, you just don't drink, do drugs, or put yourself in any positions that alter your state of mind, which to this day is like huge, man. It's been a huge blessing to me and my family. So, Chelsea doesn't really drink. She drinks like one glass of wine every 10 years. So
every 10 years.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. So I stayed the course for a while. I'm still now. So, but yeah, back to the military, joined the military.
Yeah.
Army, who went there 135 pounds, working out, doing my thing. 18 X-ray, special operations, recruit. And then I got to basic, did my basic, had fun with that. However long it was, I forget now, but I think it's like 3 months that. But before I left, that was it. Before I left, I sold everything. I sold all my cars. I had like a Mazda Speed 3, sweet car, smelled like weed all the time. And then like from the motor, not from the inside.
Oh, of course.
And then I had a Civic that I dumped all my money in, little turbo, single cam turbo car. And then I sold everything, dude. Like pretty much like I was
just back to square one.
Just to square one,
You're
man.
just a giant man baby with just nothing going on.
Nothing on. Like I had zero. I sold all my clothes, all my socks, everything.
Wow.
And yeah.
Do you think that was like kind of a move for you in the whole like the fresh start mentality? Like you're just gonna wipe the slate clean, like you're starting this new chapter, and this is square one. Yeah, man. So like I said before, don't sell all your stuff. That's only because like I came back after basic and I was like, well, fuck, I don't have a car. Or what the fuck am I going to do? But well, you're in the Army now. They'll just give you money for whatever you want. They don't do that. That's not any of what they do. They give you in basic, they give you $300 that you got to fucking pay back when you get back, when you get out of basic. But yeah, so it was kind of like a fresh slate, man. I was like, kind of want to leave everything behind and new chapter and do my thing and kind of create my own life and kind of reinvent myself. So went through, did a lot of things in the Army. It was fun. Went to basic, went to airborne school, jumped out of perfectly really shitty aircraft. And then I went the Ranger route. I went to RASP, and that was a shit show. And then I went to selection for Special Forces, got selected. Oh, sorry. I went to 82nd. I was in 82nd for about a year. Loved it, man. I love the 82nd. Like, tell us about it. Tell us a little bit about what happened. Yeah, man. So got to the 82nd as a private PFC, I think, private first class. So and E3? E3, man. I was up there, man. You're a little a nugget. I started ahead of the game, dude. When you're an SF recruit, you come in high. You come in real high. That's PFC awesome. Bitches. No big deal, nugget. It was a big deal. And then so yeah, I got there. Super cool, man. Loved it. Traditions, everything about the 82nd I loved, other than just not being Special Forces and just being a grunt, but just every day, man. Like 82nd was just a really cool place to become a soldier, learn all your proper customs courtesies and what it is about the military. Like, how do you act? How do you hold yourself on the outside and the inside? And just really just puts you to a perspective of like giving a fuck about what you're doing. You know what I mean? Right. Like a sense of pride. Exactly. Yeah. Like super prideful. I loved every minute of it. I went to EIB there, which is expert infantry badge. It's like a badge you get at a little school you go to and, learn how to be an infantryman. So did some other cool stuff like leader stuff, some sniper stuff. I was part of a sniper det, which is a sniper detachment. So I got to learn all about guns there and, long guns and shooting long and shooting some really cool weapons. And then a lot of rucks. This is where I really started getting into working out. Just crushed everything I could for, working out and PT tests and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, I'm going to selection because I was 18 X-ray, I switched in airborne school, and I went to I changed it to 11 X-ray, which is a Ranger contract. I did that,
it wasn't my forte, man. My mom was wrong.
I'm sure she commended you for at least trying it though. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. So went to the 82nd. So I lost my contract at that time. So I wasn't slated to go straight to special operations, right? Special forces. And, so I had to, go back. I had to reapply for selection and do that stuff. So I did about a year after being the 82nd. And then,
before we jump, the 82nd Airborne, obviously.
Yep.
What's like your day in, day out for the 82nd? What do you guys do?
So as a PFC, you just get bitched around all day, So military life, it's a good thing to talk about because not everybody knows. I didn't know before I joined. I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to get yelled at all the time. And I'm going to have nothing. I'm going to live in a barracks and then go right to my company and then come right back to barracks, have no fucking life.
Yeah.
And it was a complete opposite, man. It was, everyday life. You have PT in the morning, usually at I think it was at 6 in the morning, you wake up, you do some battalion run stuff, you do some other pretty cool stuff, ruck marches and, PT tests, play football, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And then you go to breakfast and, which is DFAC, which is dining facility on base. And that's all paid for by your, what kind of card is it? It's like a DFAC card. I don't know.
Yeah.
Comes out of your money like a BAS.
It's like a meal plan. Yeah.
A meal plan.
Your food service money.
Yeah. Like your food card.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Military's freaking dining facilities are the bomb. Like anything you ever want is there.
Not in the Navy. Only everywhere else but the Navy.
We have all the good food, you guys know.
I wish you guys could see it. Oh my God.
Oh man, it's the worst. But yeah, man. So you go to breakfast, smash breakfast, and then you go to your company area, and then days are just different, dude. Mondays, if anybody was in the 82nd listening to this, it's Motor Pool Mondays, and you go to the motor pool and you check your vehicle for about 16 hours.
So what do you, Motor Pool Mondays? What is you obviously do vehicle inspections.
PMCS, dude, you got to check out your vehicle that doesn't move for the next 10 years. It sits there. It's a Humvee, or you're checking out your LMTVs and stuff. But yeah, man, it's a Monday activity. Like that's all you do. You eat, you go to motor pool, and you fucking sit in your car or your truck or SUV or whatever the fuck you're doing, and you wait all day. Wow. And then you go back and you park it perfectly in line. They measure it. They hold the whole smash, man. So
they measure it,
really make sure that everybody's on line, separated by the same amount of fucking distance. So when you look down, you only see one. The whole deal. Yeah, it's awesome. But, but that's part of it, dude. It's like, there's traditions and they've been doing that for, lot longer than I've been there. So,
right.
So just keeping that tradition and, feeling part of something that you're, continuing that tradition. It was, back in my head, I was like, this is fucking stupid. But, on the bigger arching fact, it was like, someone did this who was passed away now, who gave everything to this place, so that's how I always thought about stuff. And then you would, other days you would do, you go out in the woods and, do some land nav which is land navigation. Okay. Get a compass out and you start walking through the woods. Area J was a place that I was 1504 of Airborne of the 82nd. And, we were right next to this place called Area J, which is like a big training area. We just walk in the woods and literally, Mingeldorf, which is climbing up a really skinny tree and trying to fall off of it. And then qualifying, it's when you hold a tree, you hug a tree upside down and try to hold it for the longest time without falling on your head.
Wow.
So just things like that, just private things. And then, your team leaders would have cool things for you to do, like, training scenario stuff and learning how to become a infantryman and go to ranges and shoot guns. And it was cool, man. It was everything a little boy wants to do, except for the next phase is now you take all that training and you go overseas and you fight, for someone else's freedom, or yourself. So
So the big show starts.
It's a big show, you're always preparing for the big show. So, but yeah, man, so that was fun. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And then I went to selection, and then I got selected. Selection's a fucking piece of shit.
Tell us what you can.
Shit. Just 18 days of shit, man. That's all I can tell you. No, I was kidding. A lot of physical activity, a lot of mental, like 18-mile rucks without being told how long the ruck is, just like, hey, walk that way with a ruck at night. Just go until you don't go anymore. Team week, you're in a team of, I forget now, maybe 6 to 10 people, maybe less. You just do some weird ass shit. Like you push a Jeep with 3 wheels, just like miles, and they're just looking, you always have a psychologist there with you, and they're just watching you, man, to see like who cracks under pressure, who stands up, who's a leader. And then, you have other things like log PT, which all this stuff you could watch on a documentary called 2 Weeks in Hell. So it's not like anything I'm giving you is top secret information, but you do log PT, which is, a couple hours, you just fucking humping a log, throwing up in a pit, putting it in your pocket, like just the worst, rolling over yourselves.
They're really testing your inner self. Like they're really putting you through the ringer.
Just, I think we started with like a couple hundred people, and we ended with like 60 or something like that.
Wow.
That actually stayed, and who got accepted to go. But, you go through some mental things. You take like, you take a test after being up for like fucking, 36 hours. You take like a IQ test. You take a personality test. You take some basic math tests and stuff. And then that's all evaluated from like a psychiatrist and a psychologist. So it's pretty in depth, man. It's a process for sure. It's not just go out, whoever fucking dies, who doesn't die makes it, it's more than that. So you do like a lot of land navigation. You get it's called a STAR course. You go out and you try to find 5 points. You start at like 4 maybe 3 in the morning, and then you go until that following night. And it's like, clicks, which, equal, miles, meters,
right.
1,000 meters movement in a click. So I think most I moved was like, 20 miles or something like that. So you're just walking by yourself, man, just hanging out in the woods, pooping, peeing, pants, out there
the usual stuff.
The usual, And then, so I got accepted. I got chosen, the chosen one, to be a 18 Bravo, which is a Special Forces weapons sergeant.
Wow.
So I am knowledgeable in multiple weapons, foreign and domestic.
Wow.
So, then you go to the Q course, which is your qualification course. It incorporates language, your which is your MOS, which is your military occupation. And then you do some other stuff, some more land nav tests. You go to SUT, which is small unit tactics, where you learn how to, patrol in the woods and ambush and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then you go to SEER, which is the best school ever. I could talk all day about that one, but it's pretty much you're in a survival situation as a prisoner of war, and they teach you all about yourself.
Really get fine-tuned as a human being in a school.
Which was really cool. It's probably hands down the best school I've ever been to, knowledge-wise and finding yourself wise. So did that, you go through the Q course, about 2 years long. You're at Fort Bragg. You're doing your thing, man. And it's a lot stressful, not so much physical as well. It's mental, like academic wise. I learned Pashto, which is a, dialect of, not even a dialect, but, they speak it in, Pakistan. Some parts of Afghanistan speak it as well. It's kind of like Dari, form of that.
Okay.
So I went to school for 6 months with that, which is pretty intense, man. Like, backstory, a couple, 30 minutes ago when I was telling you I dropped out of high school. But I took to it, man. I got really involved in it. I was really stoked about learning culture and learning another language and be able to talk to someone in a different language, and I was stoked about it, man. I was super excited about it. And I passed it, dude. I got like a 2.2, which is an OPI, which is oral proficiency examination. And I got a 2.2, which is pretty much like I could speak to a level of like a high schooler, kind of like. Wow. I could pretty much speak it and understand it and have conversation about how they describe a 2.2 is kind of opinion based. Like I could talk to you and have my own opinion on something. So yeah, I got to a pretty good level, man. And now I don't, because I don't speak Pashto to anybody, but except for like I went home one year, and the taxi driver from JFK to home answered the phone, and I remember I was like, shit, this dude speaks fucking Pashto, man. I'm gonna try it out. And I'm like, assalamu alaikum, and he's like, turns around, and he's like, what the fuck is this ginger talking fucking Pashto, And I'm like, Sangaye, and he's like, holy shit. And he just starts speaking to me, man. And I'm like, it's Manum Cody Day, and he's like, holy fuck, dude. So I started talking to him. So I still retain it a little bit, it'd take a couple months for me to be able to speak on a level that I used to. But so yeah, you go through that, you go through a lot of other training, and I made it through, man. I made it through. Huge day, the donning of the Green Beret is probably the biggest accomplishment, other than having kids, that I've ever had. So something that you take to your grave with you, like say is once you're a Green Beret, you're always a Green Beret. So
I mean, with all the stuff you were just talking about, I think that's a pretty paramount moment in your life, and accomplishing, like you said, all that.
It was cool, dude. I down to the core enjoyed everything I'd done, and it was cool, man. It was really, really just a really cool time. My brother came, my family came. And then, then you go to your group, you get to choose, or you don't get to choose. Sorry. Way off. You don't get to choose shit. They place you where you want to. And, so I went to 7th group, and, came down to Florida. They originally were in Bragg. We moved down to Florida here at Eglin, and that's where I am still today. Not at 7th group, but living in Florida. Went down there, man, and loved it, dude. Every day, you just on a team. You got a 12-man team. It's called ODA, Operation Detachment Alpha. Do lots of cool things, lots of training, lots of shooting, lots of small unit tactic stuff. I went to a lot of schools. Went to a couple of awesome places, couple of shitty places. We worked South America as our AOR area of operation, and went to Brazil. Had a really fucking fun time in Brazil. Worked with their special operations during the Olympics. And some other places. I went to Colombia, which was not the funnest. Bogota was cool, but where I was in like Florencia was not very cool. Yeah, man, I loved every minute of it. At the end, I did a lot of school. I was gone all the time. Chelsea, my now wife, who was not even girlfriend, just a thing back then. She stuck with me there through this whole thing. So, just always gone, man. Like even after I got home from deployment, I would come home and I would go to school, like I would go to sniper school, or I would go to some other, special operations schools.
Yeah. Super secret squirrel stuff.
Yeah, super stuff. So it kind of taxed on us, man. And Chelsea, some things changed in our life with her autoimmune stuff she's got going on, and with that, and then with kids, the talking about kids.
Yeah,
I was just like, you know what, man, I think it's time to change my path and kind of see where I'm going to go from there. But during all this, I opened up a gym, actually.
Right. How old are you at this point? when you're starting to consider your exit before you open
so
the business?
I was 28
years old.
28 years old. Yeah.
And you were, what rank were you?
29. E6.
You were an E6 at the time?
Yep.
So staff sergeant?
Yep.
Okay.
So
you guys can look that up on Google and what your pay and all that.
Grade, everything.
Yeah. just for financial is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So financially for that, like in SF, you make a lot more than an E6 would in regular Army.
Mm-hmm.
You have pro pays because we're pros, dude. We're super pros.
The pros, not double.
We get like $375 a month for being a pro. And then you got language pay. So during all this, I went to 7th group as I spoke. I went down south a bunch. And so I changed my language to initially Spanish. And then my last outgoing language is Portuguese, which is Brazilian. So I speak or spoke 3 different other languages other than the English, which I still could carry on conversation in each, but not to the depth that I was. But so I learned a bunch of languages while I was in there, which is really cool, really awesome to learn culture and all that stuff. But so every language you speak, you get paid. Every school that your specialty school. So one of the schools, don't really want to talk about it, but one of the schools I went to, you're able to get a pay for it. And then you get hazardous duty paid, and you get combat pay, all that stuff you get. So at the end of the day, you're paying like $70,000 as an E6, which, as an E6 is pretty good.
Right.
And then, that's not like your BAH and all that stuff, but which is your basic allowance for housing. So did well, man. I was loving it. Made a lot of money for the age I was and, where I was in life. I wasn't driving Mercedes, but I had always nice cars, and we always had a nice house, and wherever we wanted to move, we were able to. So, provided really cool, man. It was a good time. It was, great decision I made. I would never been financially where I was if I didn't do it.
So the Army essentially built the foundation for where you are right now.
Yeah, totally. Like they instilled me, all my soft attributes and integrity and, responsibility and leadership and all that kind of stuff.
You became a grown up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Instead of saying SF, I was just becoming a fucking grown up, which some people, learn later in life, and that took me a little bit, but I made it though, that was the thing. I actually made it to become a grown up. So yeah, man, I enjoyed every minute of that. Met some really fucking cool people, met some really asshole people, left side of the spectrum, all the way to the right side. Had some really shitty days, had a really good days. And then I, during all this, like I talked about before, I was super into, working out. And then, Chelsea actually is the reason why I owned so many of these gyms, but she brought me, she's like, hey, we should go try CrossFit. I'm like, fuck that. Like, I just want to do my curls,
bro curls,
do some shrugs,
check my buys, dude.
Check my buys out, go to the beach, get fucking GTL,
get some cut off t-shirts.
Yeah, dude. Sick. I was like, fuck that stupid workouts, So she went, and then, she came back and she's like, there's some fit people there. I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm coming next time, like I'm going to put these people out of shame. So I went back, and that was it, man. I was hooked.
What was your first gym?
First gym was a gym that I actually bought into before I owned my own personal gyms, and it was called Sand Dunes, and it was CrossFit, but then he changed it to like a strength and conditioning gym, but pretty much all the same. Like the classes, our classes in a group setting, high intensity interval training, all that good stuff. So yeah, first gym walked into, just disseminated everybody.
Just got wrecked.
Just wrecked everybody. I got there, and even though I wasn't playing many sports, in hockey, I was very competitive. In the military, I was very competitive. So when I got there and I wasn't able to do something, I was like, fuck that. Like I'm doing that and I'm going to be better than you. Like in my own head, obviously I wasn't pompous about it. I was just like, I need to do it. So like muscle ups and, snatches and all these Olympic lifts that I never done, I never touched. I was like, I'm going to do these things and I'm going to do it fucking well,
Yeah.
So that snowball, man. I started trying to compete, went to my first competition, just fucking got destroyed.
Got flattened.
Yeah, dude. Like,
wow.
One of our biggest guys in CrossFit, his name is Rich Froning. He's got the story. He's at the games and he would have won, placed on the podium. But he couldn't climb a rope. And like, that's one of the fucking qualities of CrossFit is like staple movement.
Did he not go to gym class?
No, he didn't go to gym. Man.
You learn to climb the rope in gym class.
Exactly. No, but there's a way. I'm telling you, dude, there's a way in CrossFit to climb it. And I didn't know. So my first comp, not trying to relate myself to Rich Froning, but, this is a good stab, the first workout was like rope climbs and then a whole bunch of other things and then end it with 2 rope climbs. And I'm like, dude, I'm military. Like, I know how to fucking climb a rope, But I did it legless. Like I did both of them to start legless.
Wow.
And then I went and did other things and I was fucking smoked. So I came back and I don't know how to leg lock. So I went up to the rope, completely fucking didn't do it. I didn't fit. I failed both rope climbs. I didn't even finish the workout.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there like, motherfucker. Like, okay, I'm going home now and I'm just going to climb ropes all the fucking day. Wherever I go, I'm going to climb a rope.
I'm going to bring my own rope to any location.
Yeah, I got super into it, man. I got hooked, man. They say drinking the Kool-Aid. I drank it. I drank all of it. I drank the whole the whole thing.
You bonged it.
Bonged it, man. And so I got really into it, man. I started competing a little bit more. I started getting really good at, just the basic stuff. Pull-ups, how they do pull-ups is different than how you do a bro session pull-up, and how you do some other things, how to squat is different, how you clean, all that kind of stuff. So started getting really involved in it. I became a coach, a level 1 certified CrossFit coach. And then opportunity presented itself to be a partner of a gym, the one I just spoke of.
Yeah.
We went partners, man. And this is kind of like my first business venture. I was like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing.
So how'd you tell us about it? Give me the details. Like how did the opportunity come about?
So, how did it really? So pretty much, I approached him and I was like, hey man, I feel like we could use better equipment in here,
Okay.
And I want to help and I want to make this because I'm so into it. And, first he was, he's a successful guy, man. He's had the gym for a long time. And he was the reserve off of it at first. And then, kind of sat down, talked about it. We both wanted the same path, build this gym up and, build people up and, create this very good image of people come here and they get stronger mentally and physically, So, we, sat down and we went through numbers and I was still in the military, so I couldn't contribute 100% of my time, but I could contribute 100% of my money. So I wasn't there to become rich. I just wanted to be part of something, the gym that I really liked. So brought a lot of equipment. I think it was like $20,000 worth of equipment to the gym.
Did you finance that or did you just take that out of your own personal savings?
No. So we financed it through a buddy of mine who was a Rogue, fitness. He worked for Rogue Fitness and he was like a distributor. So he, spoke to him, came up with a payment plan.
It was a personal payment plan.
Kind of like a personal. Yeah. It's kind of like a personal. He's kind of loaning me the money or loaning me the equipment at any time. He could take it back, so it wasn't like, I was pretty much like lease to own kind of stuff, paying it monthly. So, I sent him all of the money that came into the gym prior to that. So he kind of had some situation awareness of the business itself. But yeah, it was on me pretty much solely. So, got the equipment, brought that in, $20,000 ish of money came in. And then we kind of came up with a number of, hey man, you're not going to be able to coach. and I'm coaching full time because I was in the military still. When I leave, I'm not there at all. I can't really help. So we came up with a number of like, hey, off the top, this guy makes this much, and then I make whatever else comes in through revenue, so
right,
because I'm not coaching to get paid as a coach. So kind of a stupid deal, kind of shot myself in the foot on that, because I was like, well, I'm still a business owner. I still brought in just as much money as you did into this business.
right.
And I'm not getting as much back. So lesson learned, man. Like, sit down. The hardest decision or hardest part of a ownership is the partner aspect of like leaving your feelings on the side and like just getting down the numbers. Like, hey, man, I'm putting this much time and money. This is what I need. So, hey, learning curve, right?
Right.
I learned that was not the best idea. And, gym went well, made some money, lost some money. And then he had a different kind of like vision of his gym, more of like a kind of like personal training. And at this time I was fully in, man. I was competitive mode. I was trying to become, at a regional level, which for CrossFit is like, pretty good, in the whole grand scheme of things. So competing all the time and getting really into it. And then he had that aspiration of doing his next thing. And, we split ways, and I stayed in the area and he moved a few towns over. So I had a good following. So I opened my own gym. And to me, like Chelsea and I sat and we're like, we want to make this like a nice CrossFit gym, because everybody who ever goes to a CrossFit gym is like 4 walls, a roll up door, no air conditioning, just bones,
just bare
like,
bones. Okay.
Just no shirts, like just raunchy, you know what I mean? So we sat down, we came up with a business plan, which we've never wrote before, and lots of research, lots of good tools online. We reached out, threw a couple of ideas off a couple of people who in this area who are business owners themselves. So
how did you find that network of those business owners? Was it just like the internet or
just owning the gym? I had a lot of people come in who are business owners and
owning the original gym you were talking about?
The original gym.
Okay.
Yep. The one I co-owned. So I had a lot of friends from there, a lot of big name guys around here and girls. And so I had a lot of outlet for that. And in the CrossFit community, man, you run through everybody. I had friends who are doctors, friends who are like medical sales, own businesses, millionaires, so
right.
Good network, man, just good where I could bounce some ideas off of. So we started thinking like, hey, we want to build this brand of something different than CrossFit, something that incorporates CrossFit, but also incorporates like a normal, nice setting gym, like what I call like a Globo gym,
Okay.
So, crunched numbers, got down to it, came with every equipment that I wanted, plus all the build out stuff, because we wanted to have showers. And, at the time we were like, we want a towel service and all this kind of stuff. So we sat down and it came out to like $100,000. I was like, I've never even fucking seen $100,000 in my life. Fuck, and like all this is on my shoulders. And I'm like, fuck, man, $100,000.
Well, you as a human being in the competitive mindset that you have, once you see that, that's your hurdle that you have to overcome.
That's
so
it.
A lot of your, would you say a lot of your success with this situation at the moment is based on that motivational mindset to be, hey, I need to do this. Like it has to happen. My goals are set. Yeah, it was, but it was a lot of it from
that lady over there, Chelsea. Cause I was doubtful, man. Like, doubting myself, doubting the business plan, doubting just, $100,000. Like if I don't stay in the military, like how the fuck am I supposed, or my gym falls on his face, so she was really the one that was like, one night we were sitting down talking about it. I'm like, I just don't know, babe. Like it's a lot of fucking money. It's all on me, like she has no other than behind the scenes kind of action. Like I'm the face of the gym. I'm the competitor of the gym. Like all this kind of stuff is behind me. So it's all on my shoulders. And she's like, you know what? Just one night she's like, fuck it. Let's just do it. And I'm like, you serious? Like, it's a lot of fucking money. So we did it, man. And we reached out to a few banks. You have to have a business plan, and ours is, for the first one we ever wrote or ever even looked at, was awesome, man. We sent it out to a few banks and we got it within like days.
Wow.
Not the money, because it takes a little while, but we got the agreement of, we got approved within days. And that's from nothing, from scratch, dude. Like a bank's giving me $100,000 for a fucking idea up here. So, went through it. We got a leasing place, the storefront property, which was good and bad at the same time, but we wanted this like different feel to the gym. So we built it out, man. We built, like I said, bathrooms and painted the walls, and I put up like a pallet board wall and, just trying to make it look super cool. When you walked in, you're like, is this a CrossFit gym or is this a fucking Globo gym? Air conditioning, which is just huge for a ginger, like you got to have air conditioning.
You got to have air conditioning.
I work at optimal, like 70, 72 range, So for me, I was like, if I'm going to compete, I want to do it in my air conditioning. So, which I have one now in my garage in my house.
Nice. It's a must.
But yeah, so we built it out, man. It was like probably $40,000.
So
build out
$40,000 out of your $100,000 of the loan.
Okay. Gone.
Gone.
So,
right off the rip.
Right off the rip, dude. So handed that over to a contractor. He built it out. Took a couple weeks. Opened up. Day one, I think we started with like 30 members, which is just enough to pay the bills.
Wow.
Not paying me, not paying anybody else, just cutting drip bills, which is amazing to be in the green the day, you open, so super, super proud about that. Had a good following, and we had the gym for about 2.5 years.
So your initial opening day, your 30 members right off the rip, was that all people that you had previously networked with?
Yeah.
Saying,
so this is previous.
This is upcoming, and if you guys want to support, come down.
Yeah, and to be fair to the other owner, I didn't broadcast it until we were separated, did our thing, because I didn't want to be like poaching athletes. The only ones I really told were like the ones who I knew were coming with me, like more a competitor or just staying in the area. So I didn't really push it out until like a week prior to us opening that I was opening a gym. So
how much marketing and networking did you do? Like, did you do like Facebook stuff? Did you do like local newspaper type things, or what did you do?
We did both. We did a paper. We did like a cutting ceremony for the what's it called? Like the local area. I forget the name of it, but we did that. We did a cutting with them, did a newspaper article. They wrote up like a 2-page article in the paper here. And then I did like a hardcore freaking attack on Facebook of just pictures and just marketing strategy all over Facebook. Which took a little, still to this day, I don't really understand how the flow of it works, but, just try to get out as much as I can, And the cool thing about CrossFit is once you're a CrossFit affiliate, like you get put on a map, and then it's kind of like free marketing to you, because when someone Googles CrossFit in that area, it automatically comes up. So I did a little bit more of myself, and we branded it Evolve Fitness Miramar Beach, and we didn't call it CrossFit Miramar Beach, which we were an affiliate, but we just didn't use that name because we didn't want to scare people away.
Right.
So that was part of the marketing strategy. Try to get like more like moms in who don't do CrossFit, or people who are scared of CrossFit to get in the doors. So yeah, initial just marketing strategy was just push much as I could. I did all of it myself. Off PowerPoint, because that's what you use in the Army. So that's what I'm fucking good at. So, a whole bunch of screenshots. And then we got to a point where my doing wasn't enough. We got to a certain level. I think we got to like, I want to say like 70 members, something like that, 70, 80 members. And we were just holding there for a couple months. So I reached out to this company called Smart Gym, and this guy was a fucking mastermind, dude. Came in, he took videos, coach videos, introductional videos, like the whole smash, man. Like,
wow.
Built our website. We paid him like $2,500 to build us a website. And it was legit, man, like fully functioning back end with email traffic, like the whole smash, like whole deal. And we grew to like 120 members from there,
Jesus.
which is good, you know, and I think the first year after we started in March, I think the first year we took home like 60 grand.
Wow.
That's like, before all the payment stuff, you know, that's just like revenue. And then the next year after we kind of made a name for ourselves.
Year one, you were not paying yourself.
Nope. Didn't pay myself.
Wow.
All of it was just hard hustle.
So how are you supporting the family at this point?
I was still in the military.
Oh, okay. So at this point.
Wait. No, I was out. I was working where I work now, which is on base. I teach the Air Force Special Operations now.
Okay.
So I transitioned. Probably should have talked about that, right? I transitioned out at that time in 2016. I got out of active duty. I went to National Guard, and then I got a job on Eglin or on Hurlburt teaching special operations, how to shoot and stuff. So cool job, just like I was in SF, but just as a contractor. So you grew out your mustache and your beard.
Exactly. And you grew your hair out.
If anybody's looking at the videos, just be admiring that. But yeah, so nothing sexy on that side of the house. Just same thing I was doing in the Army, but just, you know, not under contract, just a contractor. So yeah, so I was doing that. I opened up the gym, you know, and this was all going on. So I was providing while I was working. So I was working about 18 hours a day.
I was going to say, so tell me about your day. Your alarm clock goes off and then what happens?
So wake up at like 5. So alarm clock goes off at 5, drive to work, be there about like 6:15. Work from 6:15 to about 3 on Hurlburt. Drive to the gym, have a coach teach usually like 4 to 5, so I could work out because I was still competitive in this time frame. And then I would take over 6 and 7. So I would leave the gym, or my class would end at 8. I would do my final clean sweep and then be gone probably like 8:45, 9. And I'd be home at like 9:30. Get home, eat, stretch out a little bit, and go to bed and wake up and do the same thing over and over again for the last 2.5 years.
Jeez, man. So,
yeah. And you were here. I barely even.
Oh yeah.
You lived right next to me, and we hung out maybe twice.
Barely.
You know.
So while you're doing this, you're contracting during the day on Hurlburt. When you transitioned from the Army, you jumped into the contractor position based on what you're doing in the Army.
Yeah, exactly. So I got my job because of that. Yeah. So
what are you looking like financially at this place?
Making 72,000 a year. So pretty much exactly what I was making in the Army.
So it's a clean cut transition pretty much.
Yeah. So nothing hardship wise. I did actually work while I was on terminal leave. I got a job I was selling timeshares.
Oh man.
Oh dude. So I got my real estate license.
Okay.
While I was in, you know, you got to keep probing me, man, because I got all these different fucking things I do. But
that's what we do here on Operation Journey, man. We're trying to get all the nitty gritty details.
So I got my, I freaked the fuck out, by the way, when I was getting out. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do?
I feel like that's standard protocol when leaving the military, because I'm not even there yet, and I'm already kind of feeling that little like,
yeah, dude, anxiety.
I'm queasy.
Yeah, so I applied to everything: police departments, fire departments. I applied to the CIA, applied to the FBI, applied everywhere.
You applied to the CIA? I
got the job at the CIA.
They didn't ask you about your driving record?
Oh no, it was gone by that time, man. I don't know how the hell it was gone, but actually, that's another episode. But I actually got a job offer from them, but I would have to move to Virginia. We weren't ready for that. So, so I got my real estate license. I was freaking out. My buddy ran Wyndham here, And he's like, dude, you could get out making like $300,000. And I'm like, that sounds better than 70, like,
yeah, that's a nice round number.
That's a round number. I like triple digits versus
that's cool.
It's like, fuck it, man. It's my first time getting out of military. I'll see what's going on. And, so I went and I worked there for 2 months. I made a lot of money, but, it's shady as fuck, man. Like, you're selling people things that they can't afford, and
define a lot of money. You were there for how long?
2 months, and I made probably $40,000 in 2 months.
$40,000 in 2 months.
It was ridiculous.
That's like drug dealer status, man. That's what drug dealers make.
Well, that's what they're doing, man. They're doing drugs.
That's
like selling drugs there. Not even good drugs. They're like dead drugs.
What was the prerequisites for that job? Was it just a real estate license? No experience required? License, like, how did they train you?
Heartbeat.
No soul. You're not allowed to have a soul, though, I heard.
Yeah, no, for real. You shouldn't have a soul if you do that. But you had to have your Florida State realtor's license. And then you do I think it was a week of onboarding.
Babe, keep her quiet.
And it was just learning how to talk the lingo, what you're selling, all this kind of stuff, which is all bullshit. And dude, just sitting there, I'm like, at first I was really good at selling because I believed in the product. Like they taught us without any of the gray line,
right.
Like this stuff works, man. So I would sell it and I'd be like, this stuff fucking works, buy this, and they bought, man. I sold a lot of stuff. And then month 2 came and I'm like, this shit doesn't fucking work. I'm straight fucking stealing out of poor people's pockets to put it into my rich pocket, so
you felt morally just not.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I came out of the army defending this country to coming out and stealing from this same people I was defending, I was like, this doesn't sit morally with me. So
wow.
During that time, I started reaching out to a couple of my buddies who were contracting, and they were like, hey man, this spot's opening up. Like, if you want it, pretty much yours. So I reached out, sent my resume, and got the job on base on Hurlburt. And I left that fucking place, man.
In the dust.
Yeah, dust, dude.
It says a lot about your character, though, man. I mean, to say that, you turned down obviously a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, man.
That's heart, man. That's
you're going to be the next, top seller. I'm like, I'm going to be the next fucking person to leaving
this building.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So it wasn't me, man. I'm just not. Money doesn't drive everything for me. I'm just more of a, if you like what you do, you never work a day in your life kind of dude. So yeah. I love it, man. I work on base, and up until this day, it's awesome, dude. Stupid bullshit with the army or the military. Same stuff I get you're in, but I don't have to deal with it when I go home, So, so I had that job, got the real estate license, let that lapse. I don't fucking sell real estate now. And then did gym, went hardcore gym. And, during that time, man, I was competitive. I made it to, what is now called regionals. It's called sanctioned events. And I traveled, man. I traveled to, Brazil. I went to Brazil and competed there. And didn't do too well. I got sick actually on the way there, like 102 fever.
Jesus.
A couple of days prior to the comp, and then I was just out, so I didn't do as well. Plus, it was my first comp in like a big setting, like 10,000 people were there, so it was crazy.
Wow.
So I did that, and then came home, and I turned right around, and I flew to Netherlands actually, and I competed in the Netherlands for CrossFit as well. So
how many people in attendance there?
I think it was around the same, man. It's wild. It's big. It's huge.
So you became the star.
I became that star I was looking for, dude. Yeah, I became that. I kind of fulfilled everything that I wanted to do. Became Green Beret. I did that time, had fun with it, and then I hit my next journey, which was owning a business, and then my next journey after that was competing on the competition floor with like these really big name guys.
Yeah, large spectrum stuff.
Yeah. So, now I got like freaking 20,000 followers on Instagram. I only know more than half of them. I probably know like 100 on there. So
I'm one of them.
yeah, exactly. And, so yeah, it was cool, man. I really loved competing, and then I got hurt. I tore my quad in 2018 2018, I believe. So I tore my quad, and it's kind of downhill from there.
Right. Was this all like previous injury from the Army that you?
Yeah, I would say so. Just like constant jumping and ruck marches and stuff like that. So I tore it, and then it was kind of like a downward spiral from there. Just more stuff started surfacing, and it was harder and harder to get motivated at the gym because I was always hurt and always in pain. Right. And then I had my son at that time, Connor. So
big man,
fucking savage, dude. He's a savage. But yeah, then I had the gym, and I got out of the military so we could have kids, and we had our son Connor, who's now almost 3, and he's a freaking savage. And
3 is a fun age. No, it's not.
He's almost there. He's almost there, and he's already a fucking teenager.
Oh my god, just wait, dog.
Yeah, I know, but
no, it gets better, man.
It was cool, man. It was cool to be able to have to be a father, where I never had it. So I don't really fucking know what I'm doing, but I think I'm doing all right. So
it's not even like changing a new chapter. That's opening a whole new book.
That's a new book
to start.
It's like throwing that thing away. Yeah. So I was competing during all this. So one of my biggest comps that I was trying to get to was the CrossFit Open. And we just had Connor, and this is prior to me getting hurt. And I was like 48th in our region. So I missed it by like 15 spots, which fucking blew, that was my gold arch that I was looking for, but I missed it. It is what it is. Wasn't fit enough, or, whatever it was. And then the next year I hit 3, and I made all 3 of them, which was what I said, Netherlands, Brazil. And then I actually went to Ireland. Actually this year. I went to Ireland this year, and I competed as a team. So every other one was individual, competed by myself. And then this one I went on a team as a 4-person team, which was cool, man. It's different. I'm not really into it as much as I was individual.
Right.
And then after that, I decided, fuck being in pain. And
if it's avoidable, right?
Yeah, man. So I decided to have hip surgery. So I had bilateral hip surgery, which they cut my IT bands. Yeah, sliced me up. Yeah. So I had hip surgery, did this whole big thing, cut my IT bands, took my burses out. I had fractures. I had bone spurs. So I just went in and chopped me up. And so now that was like 3 weeks ago, but
now you're bionic.
Now I'm a fucking bionic. No, I don't feel like I'm bionic.
You're half a robot. They replaced you with alloys from the space shuttle.
And during all this, actually, I had we had another baby, a baby girl, little nugget, Isabel, which is So all this is going on. We had Isabel, Connor's 2.5. We were going through COVID-19 crisis. Trying to contain a 2-year-old in a house for fucking 2 months. So you got to go?
No. We are about to tip the 2-hour mark.
All right. Well,
I was just giving you time. I was just giving you a time check.
Cool. We're close to the end anyway. But yeah, we had our daughter. So now we have the daughter-son mix, which is pretty sweet. But all this is going down, COVID-19 stuff, keeping a 2-year-old freaking insane in a house is a feat of itself. But man. So during that time, I decided when I sold the gym, like last September, I was like, I need to go back to school.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So I finished my bachelor's while this is all going on. So I'm still working at the gym. Before I sold it, I started working on my bachelor's. And then I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to go to school and become a firefighter while I'm doing my bachelor's.
Wow.
So I did that, which was not, I would not advise that, and have a newborn and a fucking savage 2-year-old.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. So I threw it all in the pot, man. I went to fire academy for 6 months. I just passed yesterday. Actually, I took my written exam. Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. So finished that, and now I'm on my master's, dude. I started my master's degree in business management.
Business management. Which is
kind of correlates to like what I did in the military. A lot of managing soldiers, and kind of brings you back to like the military aspect. So I started doing that like in my second class of my master's, and yeah, dude, I just finished fire academy, and just now here we are.
Wow. That's great.
That's
so
the story,
let's touch on the fire academy real quick. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, man.
It's another massive like career option.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's wild, dude. My brother kind of pushed me into it. So
he did like 10 years ago.
Yeah, he tried to do it 10 years ago. But now he's like, hey man, why don't you move down here? And the only way to do that is become a firefighter. So
right.
I said, fuck it, man. I got my GI Bill. I don't have to pay for it. I can get paid to go to school. I don't have any time, but I'm going to make time like you need to with everything that you're going to do in your life. Don't make excuses.
Well, now that you sold the gym.
Yeah.
Which we did kind of miss a couple of marks on there throughout your business ownership lifetime. You actually opened up a second gym.
Yes, sir.
For a short time.
The second one. Yeah. I opened that for like probably 4 months, found out it was too much to handle. And then I sold it to a buddy of mine, he continues to run it these days, but I sold Evolve, the one that I was speaking about, the first one. I'm sorry, I closed it because I wanted to go back to school.
Right.
And I felt like that chapter of my life was over. And, so I got to set up, we could talk about it next episode because we're at 2 hours here, but sold it or closed it, gave the equipment to a gym that's new opening that I'll have a part of. So still kind of in the gym game.
But, you still have your hands in the game a little bit,
Yeah. And then, finished fire academy, and now I'm in EMT school and doing my master's, finished my bachelor's, so it's a lot, man. I, wrapping this up, biggest thing, like I would say is like, don't have excuses for anything. I'm a dad who works full time, has now 2 kids, finishing my degree. I finished another job path. I own 2 businesses during all this, and I was a competitive athlete. So really like zero excuses for anybody that is trying to do something.
Do you so selling the gym, the one gym, closing the other gym, financially have you felt the like large repercussions from it? Were you making investments along the way while you were owning the business to where you have something now to fall back on, like you were talking about earlier, having that savings account? Like, are you comfortable with that right now?
Yeah. So during the time we had the gym, we made a lot of money. I think second year we made close to 130,000. And then mid-year, the next year, the year that we closed, we were up to like 90 grand. So we would have surpassed that point. So we made a good amount of money off of it. We did spend it like it was fucking water.
Well, you gotta,
but we also
enjoy your hard work.
Yeah,
man.
Exactly. Then I started paying myself. I had a Ford Raptor and, paying $1,000 a month for a fucking truck, but, got rid of that because, it's just not worth it. So yeah, we did save a lot, man. We are comfortable where we're at. And, when we sold the gym or sold the equipment, kind of got into a business venture with the new gym that opening.
Yeah.
And I'm just a behind the scenes guy. Like I'm just pretty much helping out when they need, but I'm also just taking parts of the business through revenue stuff.
Nice, man.
So we're good, man. We're loving what we're doing and just working fucking hard, dude. Hard work pays off, right?
And there's a lot more chapters in your life that you're gonna obviously get to, and there'll be more episodes for the future updates, man. Honestly, it's
we got plenty of time.
I know we really do, man. It's honestly, if you weren't with me on this as my partner in crime here, like you would have been a guest on this show. Like honestly, like sitting back and I mean, I've known you for how many years now, man?
Yeah.
And there's always something new to learn. You know what I mean? Like all the
Me
small
too, dude.
details.
I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Like we just sat here for 2 hours, and for the listeners, my SD card is the one that comes with and cannot hold that much time. It's the only reason we even have to consider cutting this. But
we'll do part 2, man. We'll get more into it, but. Yeah, dude, I'm the same way. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? This is just too much. But dude, like, you gotta live your life. Anything, like every day, I'm like, if I die tomorrow, I want to be happy with what I did, and I want to be accomplished. I want my son and my daughter to be like, that motherfucker worked his ass off, you know. Like, so
they have someone to emulate, though. That you know, you are that story for them to tell.
Exactly. Yep. Which I didn't have, and I don't want to ever leave anything on the side that I never did. You know, like I don't want to be like, well, my dad didn't do this, motherfucker. My dad did everything.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
checked all the blocks, man.
Yeah, dude. So every day I'm always thinking, man, I'm like, what else can I do? I have this one life to live. I'm gonna live as much as I can. I might not get rich, but I'll be fucking smart, and I'll have everything accomplished.
The big plus for this show. Is that we're going to be crossing a lot of people, of people with a lot of different, successful stories and different businesses. So you never know what's going to happen out of this, man.
Dude, you never fucking know.
Never know. And that's the beauty of this whole thing, man. And it's fun, just sitting here. We could go for another 2 hours, man. I'll sit here and listen to you all night.
Actually, now I got to go sleep, Jake. I wake up at 5:30.
Yeah. Hey, we're working right now, right? You're still on the clock. I know. And we do not pay each other. So
yeah, exactly.
No, but
someone pay us.
It's cool, man. No, it honestly, it's mind blowing. Really, just listening to your whole story, man. It's just like I'm so happy, and I'm grateful to have you on this show with me and doing all this, man.
It's gonna be cool, dude. I'm excited. This is just another thing to add to my list. Like, should I really done this?
Yeah, man. Hopefully, it gets us to a point where we don't have to work anymore, and we can just do this and spread good information and educate some of these kids that are hopefully listening to this at some point, and they can take something away, and that's our goal. And everything that you said today is 100% accomplished. That you've accomplished. It's amazing, man. It's amazing. And it's doable. It's not, it just goes to show that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. There's always room for success in this country.
Exactly. It's just hard work, man.
It's it. Just grind it.
Got to put it down.
Well, I appreciate you, man. As always, love you.
Everybody.
And we will hopefully have our next episode set up shortly.
Next episode's coming up.
Yeah, man. So we'll cut it for now, and I appreciate you again, and thank you, brother. Thank you for telling the world your story. And
thanks to our listeners too, man. Yeah, this is gonna be the first session, so I hope you guys listen, and maybe not 2 hours worth. You skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
Cool, guys.
Thanks.
All right, buddy.
Have a good night, man. I'll see you soon.
You too, man.
All right.
Later.